Right, class. Good morning, all. As I finished over here regarding some of the specialized carbohydrates, I can say the specialized polysaccharides. So, in the same context, as I have started describing polysaccharides first in a simpler, in easier terms, that is cellulose, starch, etc. Then glycogen, and then I am moving towards some specialized one. See, the concept behind a specialized one is that these kind of carbohydrates are basically involved in most of the metabolic functionings of our body. I have told you yesterday that in cell signaling, basically cell receptors are one of the such component in our body which are mainly built up of glycoproteins also. So I told you wherever you are finding the word glyco, you will be seeing carbohydrates. In the same context, I have told you about glycosaminoglycan, in which I have described about hyaluronate. Now, I told you that hyaluronate are built up of repeating disaccharide units. And then I move on to proteoglycans. So I told you yesterday that they are after hyaluronate, they are glycosaminoglycan, which are linked to the serine residue of core protein. First, I will show you over here. Look at this. This is core protein. Core protein is a very important part of that particular component, protein, right? And proteins are built up of amino acids. So your particular proteoglycan is binding to that serine residue of core protein. Why? What is the reason behind that? I'll tell you. And it keeps on, to that particular core protein, sequential addition of sugar will takes place slowly and slowly. So this means that participation in metabolic processes has been started. If you see, I'm talking about two different proteoglycans over here. One is agrican and one is varsican. If you see, what happened is that the extracellular matrix of our body have certain proteoglycans which binds to that hyaluronate via these protein modules. Now, multiple copies of agrican associates with hyaluronate in cartilage. Cartilage is something that is not very new to all of you. So, agrican is associating with hyaluronate in cartilages. Versican is another such peptidoglycan, proteoglycan, which binds hyaluronate in extracellular matrix of connective tissue. So, what is the focus point over here? The focus point is extracellular matrix. They are joining with hyaluronate. Hyaluronate itself is a glycosaminoglycan. So, this joining has an importance in extracellular matrix. The same structure I have described yesterday, hyaluronate is made up of glucuronate and N-acetyl glucosamine. Fine. Right. So, when I am talking about heparin sulfate, what is heparin sulfate? It is a basically membrane embedded core protein as a polymer of alternating N-acetyl glucosamine and glucuronate residue. Right. I'll tell you one specific example of this. The glucuronate residues may have the ability to convert into a sulfated sugar, which we call it as iduronic acid. Do remember this thing, that the glucuronate residue of that disaccharide units has the ability to convert into a sulfated sugar, which we call it as iduronic acid, while N-acetyl glucosamine residues may be deacetylated or sulfated. Fine. So, you can see this is the scenario. If you remember hyaluronate, you can easily remember heparin sulfate. See, in place of acetyl, sulfate comes, right? So, that is the critical association. So, everything is fine. Now, it is now known as iduronate or iduronic acid. Fine. So, don't forget hyaluronate, don't forget heparin sulfate. So, I hope you all remember what heparin is. you know heparin is an anticoagulant. So it is a glycosaminoglycan which is found in granules of mast cells, granulocytes, right? Granules of mast cells. Mast cells participates when there is an allergic reaction in the body, and it is having a structure which is similar to that of heparin sulfate, but it is more sulfated. So just now I have shown you the sulfated structure. So what happened is that when they release into the blood, it inhibits clot formation by interacting with antithrombin. So heparin has an extended helical conformation. Fine. Just now as I have shown you here in this. Fine. So what happened is that because of that negatively charged molecule, there is charge repulsion, right? And this makes this conformation stable. Fine. It avoids a staggering, aggregating. Okay. So let's move on from heparin to, yeah, certain cell surface heparin sulfates which is available at the surface of the cell. They keep on associated themselves with core proteins. The core protein of syndecan heparin sulfate proteoglycan includes a alpha helix also, that is transmembrane alpha helix. The core protein of glypican heparin sulfate is attached to the outer surface of plasma membrane via covalent linkage to a lipid. So this is just a remembering point, certain textual words associated with heparin sulfate, right? So don't forget syndecan, which has associated itself with transmembrane alpha helix, and so another is glypican, right, which binds itself to the lipid. Okay. So what happened is that proteins which are involved in signaling and adhesion of the cell surface recognizes and binds to these heparin sulfate. That is particular, I mean, when I am talking about heparin sulfate, so the role of heparin sulfate is quite clear to you. It should be means if you are trying to understand that why what is the role of such negative charged molecules. So this heparin sulfate has a particular role in identifying those receptors where you can say they are responsible for adhesion, which are attachment, right? When what happened is that in cell signaling the molecules needs to attach itself. So for this heparin sulfate has a role over here. Now the point is that if you are explaining this to anybody, you need to take a confirmation that somebody will be asking the examples, right? So what might be those examples? Certain growth factors, right? So which one bind to the surface receptors? They bind actually to the heparin sulfate. So what happened is that anybody is saying that it is the association of particular molecule with the cell surface receptors. So actually it is association with heparin sulfate, right? So you need to focus upon onto this, and once I'll be finishing over here, I mean again I would be like to I would at this point I would like to reiterate again that you need to understand the structure of hyaluronate very well, and then on that basis you can easily structurally explain that heparin sulfate. I'll be explaining more in my next uploading slides. Thank you.